Hello, everyone. Oh, and kitten. Welcome to the Twilight Network. My name is Liam Conway, Rampant Wombat below, and yeah, it's great to be with you at a different time today, as we are undergoing a slight transition, a change of pace with Twitch and with Onyx Path. This will be rebroadcast on the Onyx Path Twitch if you want to go there and just listen to me ramble for about an hour. As always, we're coming to you from Palawa Land here in northern Tasmania. Always was, always will be, and we pay respects here to the elders past, present, and emerging here on Lutruwita, Tasmania. Now, just open up a few things. Those in chat, hope you're doing well. Tassie boys, that's the one I want. Yes, kitten. Hello. You are certainly a person of fascination. Uh, Today, we're going to be talking about Wolfblooded in Werewolf the Forsaken. This so much cat, so much cat. You feel like you've gotten into gotta love her. Wolfblooded are not werewolves. They may never be werewolves, or maybe one day they will become one. But as they stand, they are themselves. They are touched by the moon. The blood of the wolf flows through them, but they are not able to transform. They have spiritual resonance powerful in their hearts, but they are not Uratha. They are their own. They are the bridge in between Uratha um, and their human pack members, or maybe the bridge between the totem and humanity. But they are wolf-blooded. They are kinfolk. They are their own. It's Cat is interested in coffee. The wolf-blooded are the heart and soul of a pack story. The wolf-blooded are humans. They are fundamentally just mortal humans who have a little bit extra. They are the descendants of werewolves, or they are people specifically chosen by Luna to look after the Uratha. Wolf-blooded are very cool, very fun, and they are more than just the kinfolk of Werewolf the Apocalypse, where they were kind of just uh, walking liabilities, as far as I understand it. And they're more than just they're more than just retainers or allies, or if you're used to D&D, they're not just followers. Wolf-blooded are wolf-blooded. They have a place of honor within a werewolf hierarchy, but they are not fully werewolves. They may partake in the hunt, but they are not hunters. There is no compulsion on them to hunt. Wolf-blooded are their own, and that makes them very interesting to play and to have on side. There are a few ways you can become wolf-blooded. You can become wolf-blooded by virtue of genetics. Um, Wolf-blooded can become as can awaken a tells a particular power that is blessed to them by the moon. They may be people selected by the moon, by Luna, in her own capricious way, for she is cruel and maybe she wants to teach the Aratha something very particular. Alternatively, they are people who saw a werewolf enter Garu, enter Death Rage, and they looked into that, and they fell in love with it. Because something in them changed due to the lunacy that was inflicted upon them. Let's get some music going so my headphones don't disappear. Yeah, we'll go Greek mythology songs. Let's just drop that. There we go. Alright. Werewolf the Forsaken is thematically built around the wolf must hunt. Wolf-blooded represent kind of a halfway point, a turning point between the human life of a werewolf that a werewolf may have had. Maybe they grew up, went to school, did all that sort of stuff. But the wolf-blooded are those who sit kind of on the cusp of the pack. They're intimately aware of what's going on, and yet they don't have the full knowledge of what's going on. They are incredibly useful, but they're also their own individuals worthy of honor. One of the most impressive things about Wolf-blooded, and we will jump to this, haha, is their creation. I'll just open this up a bit more. Wolf-blooded are mortals. They have a virtue, they have a vice. They have integrity. They don't get harmony, which is a werewolf-specific state of the soul. However, what they have are tells. Tells are somewhat similar to the most basic of werewolf innate abilities. For example, over this side you have bite. You have a strange jaw that makes it look like you've had it broken several times. But what it means is that as a boon, there we go, you can perform +1 lethal damage if you bite someone. Wolf-blooded tells are the things that signify who you are. If you have seen American Werewolf in London, which is a fantastic movie, the tell is the eyes. If you've seen Teen Wolf, it's the furry body slowly eking out. If you've seen the Welsh series Wolfblood, which is very similar to this, there is that sort of element coming through. They are incredibly important, Wolf-blooded, because some of their tells are fantastic, like Spirit Double. You are driven, you have the ability to become a disembodied spirit, basically. The spirit leaves the body and does their thing. You also have particular merits for Wolfblooded. Wolfblooded may get tribal affiliated merits, and these are fantastic. I would argue that gaining these merits, although they may be tracked through lineage and heritage, these merits are primarily granted by the tribes to Wolf-blooded who specifically exist within the tribal system. Like, if you have one of these tribal merits, the assumption is that you will become this tribe. Similarly, Moonbirth merits are those that are innate in some ways. They are the merits that a Wolf-blooded may gain by virtue of just being, and each one has its own auspice relationship. You also have other merits that are important parts to what makes a Wolf-blooded a Wolf-blooded. Oops. Wolf-blooded form a very important role within packs. Wolf-blooded are often let into a lot of secrets that other pack members may not have. An old Wolf-blooded is just as dangerous to a young Uratha as any host. Wolf-blooded may be prey, particularly if you're an Iron Master, because the Wolf-bloodeds are noble and worthy of being prey. But within a pack dynamic, Wolf-blooded often, like I said, sit around the outer crust. They are the structural support for a pack. Whilst the werewolves may go out hunting, may go after spirits, may kill hosts or other werewolves, what Wolf-blooded do is they come alongside and aid the werewolves in accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish. Wolf-blooded are not just they're not just receptionists and support workers. They are treated equally, and they are often allowed to join in on the important ceremonial elements. This is in no small part because Wolf-blooded have the ability to learn spirit magic. Now, they can't learn gifts, as gifts are, pardon me, inherently tied to the nature of having essence. Gifts are carved into the body of a werewolf. But what they can learn is a very important subline in the core book. Only werewolves can learn wolf rights. They are tied to the nature of being a werewolf. They are inherent to that. But both werewolves and wolf-bloodeds can learn pack rights. Pack rights are incredibly important. These are things like banish. Wolf-blooded can learn how to yeet a spirit across the gauntlet. They can harness the cycle. You even have this little sidebar in Werewolf where Wolf-blooded can become incredibly powerful and dangerous. Wolf-blooded can learn rights. They can learn things like totemic empowerment, which enables a totem to inhabit a pack member for a time. They can learn hunting ground, which means that they can claim territory. Um, they can learn things like wellspring, which um, shifts the resonance of a loci, I believe. They can call upon spirits. They can provide. Um, they can call benefit to spirits, and they can use fetishes, the magical items of werewolves. Importantly, they can learn a version of the sacred hunt. The Great Hunt. All human and wolf-blooded members of the pack immediately shift to Urhun, so wolf form, gain the full range of bonuses that form offers, senses of werewolf, and regeneration as if they had Primal Urge 1. They gain a ban, which is fine, but they are compelled to hunt the pack's prey. Whilst it may be a breaking point for wolf-blooded. For humans, it's not for wolf-blooded. Wolf-blooded are an amazing threat to any game. They're also an amazing benefit to the werewolves around them because they are closer to being human than werewolves are. Werewolves will have moments where they have to skip work or they have to miss important family events, but the wolf-blooded don't have that. Sure, they may make a few calls, invest in the community life of the pack, but they're not a werewolf. They don't have the pain and difficulty that a werewolf has. Wolf-blooded may become werewolves, they may engage with that sort of lifestyle, or they may just be people who the pack calls upon in moments where they need to have a chat. It's not unreasonable for a pack to have a couple of wolf-blooded counselors who help particularly new werewolves deal with the psychology of I have to kill humans. I have to kill infected and horrendous things. I have to scar my soul to keep the world safe. Wolf-blooded do that. Now, Wolf-blooded are also not just the passive players of that kinfolk are, nor are they the subjugated servants that ghouls are. They are their own. Ghouls are addicted to the vitae of a vampire. Wolf-blooded just happen to have been collected by the pack. And maybe they find some benefit there, particularly if the pack is good. Problem is, if the pack is bad, the response of the wolf-blooded may be to stop coming along to pack events. Stop talking to the pack. Maybe even just slowly start suggesting to some of those around, hey, look, I know that they said they did this, but they don't. You know, the low honors the high and all that. Maybe we should just leave them alone for a little bit. Maybe we should just, if they want to be big shot werewolves, let them be big shot werewolves. How you use a wolf-blooded in your game is it's very interesting. the book in its the core book of Werewolf, in its Soul of the Wolf chapter, talks about making Wolfblooded that the party plays. That in the sense that they have a vested interest in maintaining this Wolfblooded. Um, they're still their stats aren't as developed as the main characters, which would be the werewolves, but the Wolf-Blooded exist. And here's the quick reference. But that doesn't mean that you can't not play a Wolf-Blooded. You absolutely can. In fact, Wolf-Blooded are probably some of the most impressively powered supporting cast members or minor templates for the Chronicles of Darkness, because they can benefit from having fetishes and rights and some very amazing merits like Ghost Child, which gives 9 again, provided you don't have 3 dots in a skill, I think. It rewards you for a lack of commitment, which is amazing. But Wolf-Blooded are great in that way. Looking at what we've got here, we've got a bit of time. And I don't think I actually gave this a title, did I? Rampant Wombat? No. Liam is bad at his job. Title. Um, did that work? That didn't work. Ba ba ba. That didn't work. Ooh. No, I'm just stupid. I'm sorry to be doing this to those listeners. I didn't get my stuff sorted. That's on me. Yeah, whatever. Done. There we go. Alright, let's look at building a pack. Because there are 2 main books on pack builds. There is the Werewolf the Forsaken book, which has a decent build guide. There is also this book, The Pack. What Werewolf the Forsaken... I'll actually give a full look at the cover, because this cover art is fantastic. It's a Stormlord pack, 2, what I would argue, Werewolves and Dalu leaders. And you've just got these boys rocking about with the Stormlord symbol. It's fantastic. Building a pack is one of the most important things that you can do in Forsaken. This can be done in a few different ways. And the system that they use to build packs is, I would argue, the base system for what they use to build crews. And if you've seen our mummy videos, they're the base system for how mummy groups are made. Yeah, Ridashik. The art for Werewolf is just what's Dale Kingsmill's sentence? It's vague and evocative. It just, it's just, I love Werewolf. So let's take a look at. I have to remember how the pack book is laid out. Give me a sec. Da 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 da. If there are any questions, of course, you're welcome to say and ask them. Building the pack, there it is. I really like having chat interaction. It means that I know what you guys are thinking. The Book of Werewolf the Forsaken over here has 2, 3, 4 pages that are about creating the pack. And it does a good job. And it adequately shows what a pack can be. And I would argue that because Forsaken did this, eventually it gets tighter and tighter as you read through things with high supporting cast values. So things like Geist, things like Mummy. The base system they have streamlines amazingly. The pack book, on the other hand, it's a little clunky, but it treats the pack like its own character with population, that sort of thing. And fills it with secondary characters. Look at that. Great art. 2 Gauru werewolves, maybe 2 statues. Hey, Anaji. Hey, Ridishik. And it kind of streamlines the building of the pack. Now, there are ways you can build the pack in that format. How we're going to build it with our little Chimera Cult game is if I can get that sheet up. Mystagon, rock solid shells. I don't have it on me. Did I save over it? Saved over it, and I'm not going to get it out. Has a selection on all the big stuff that you need. Has an amazing sheet on it all. I like using the pack book to help describe what the pack is doing, but we'll supplement it with the cult from Mummy the Curse. The reason that I want to do that is because this is very much kind of well written, well designed, but Mummy just gets it better. So, and this will also help decide how you can use a Wolfblooded in your game. Now, cult creation. One of the things that Mummy does that really helps streamline this is develop a cult archetype. Now, this doesn't do that. So what I would argue is in building a pack, we've got this pack culture stuff going on up here. Love that. Fantastic. that's mostly for werewolves. Pack stats. Pack archetype. Hey, I can spell. So Mummy gives a few directions for that, which is a conspiracy, an enterprise, or a tribe sort of thing. You can keep those, or you can add a different sort of archetype. Yes, there are hunting types in the pack, which are werewolf, human, or wolf. Ignore them for now. We're looking at this from a wolf-blooded perspective. How does the pack behave? Does it behave as a cult, where werewolves are treated as prophets, as creatures with religious power, as you may see with uh, Firemaster, or maybe even Bone Shadow packs? So are they a cult? Are they a conspiracy? A secretive organization with the power and means to keep werewolves secret, keep them safe? Are they an enterprise? Which the pack book does have an example of how to play an enterprising werewolf pack. You use business as your hunt, and it does that really well. I can't remember. Just killed that book. I can't remember the pack name. Maybe it's in here. I'm getting distracted, but that's okay. Alright. So in picking the pack archetype, you give a basis for how the character of the pack is going to play out. If a werewolf comes to a conspiracy leader, as may be the case, maybe you've got a pack of, let's look at what we've got here, heavy Iron Master culture. Okay, instead of a conspiracy, we'll talk about enterprise. The pack archetype is enterprise. So the first sort of questions you're asking, or the Wolf-Blooded are asking, are what's the cost? What do we have to invest in? What do we have to gain? All this sort of a bit more business sidey discussion. I'll just sort out my life to make things easier for me. You can do pack aspirations. First off, I tend to find that aspirations are best left last, particularly if your players are engaging in building the pack. Now, when Mummy goes to doctrines, virtues, and vices, really all that's talking about is the touchstones. What are your pack touchstones? Are they the Wolf-Blooded themselves? Are they things that the Wolf-Blooded look after? Are they areas that the Wolf-Blooded care for? Each pack has two. Just boost that. One related to the physical world and where the pack sits in that, and the other is the spiritual center. For this archetype, we're going to go for a cult because I think that's funny. And so the touchstones are going to be for the human world. They're going to be a religious site, maybe an old church or something that they've pulled apart. And their spiritual touchstone is going to be a key hunting site. So because we've got heavy Iron Master and heavy Bone Shadow presence in this Forsaken pack, with Beast Courts and all of that, they are the sorts of hunts that would take place have a bit more of this religious zeal. Maybe the Sisko Da rite is performed only at this religious site. And it's a place where the Wolfblooded come in and they bring, the potluck dinner. They make sure invitations are sent out. They make sure everybody's contacted. They make sure that everything is done. The Wolfblooded do all the legwork. But the key hunting site is where the werewolves finish their kills. They will harry and drive their prey into the hunting site. Okay. Pack complications. Whereas Mummy bridges into attributes and that sort of thing, the pack doesn't behave like that. The pack, even in this cultic situation, there is frustration within the pack that needs to be worked out. Werewolf has this big theme of rage and anger. Yes, kitten. Hello. Oh, fine. You bite me then. You be filled with rage. So pack complications for this pack. They're a cultic pack. Their religious site um, is owned by a maybe their religious site is a church hall, and the church is owned by another group. Maybe it's the church themselves, maybe it's a Catholics. It doesn't matter. It's just that this is a complication. There are only certain hours in which that this religious site is open. And to deal with that, you have to deal with the physical elements, the physical real world elements of that. This is the sort of thing that should be consistent. Maybe because our Forsaken pack really likes human spirits of technology, emotion, and society, maybe they they're using they have to care for this graveyard. But it has to be this specific graveyard because that's where the death spirit, who is their totem, that's where that death spirit cares about. And so there's all of this. Maybe they could move and run away, but it would be bad for them to do so. They need to stay near this. Complications should create setbacks. So, what other one? Let's go for a spiritual one. And let's tie it to this sort of stuff. pack complications. Fire spirits actively ride and claim the Wolfblooded and humans. This may seem like a small, an unreasonable thing to have in some ways, but it is a consideration and a complication where if the playgroup maybe has nothing else going on, you can throw out, oh, someone's been setting more fires than they should. They've been a bit of a firebug this week. And so the werewolves are going, oh, hell, is this a fire spirit or are they just playing around with a group of arsonists? Like, what's going on? This complication means that there is a weakness in the pack, which is the Wolf-Blooded and the humans of the pack. The Wolf-Blooded who do all of the legwork, and we'll also put in Wolf-Blooded, are bitter about the amount of work they do. And so they're fighting back on that. That should be a consistent issue for the pack to deal with. If your pack is playing werewolves, every so often have one of the older Wolf-Blooded ask them, so what are you bringing to the right this evening? Oh, nothing. Oh, I see. And use the jadedness of the Wolf-Blooded to insinuate that the werewolves are violating the oath of the moon. Because they are the high, supposedly, and they are not honouring the low, the humans and Wolf-Blooded. So if a Wolf-Blooded leaves the pack, and the werewolves have to hunt them down because they know too much, whose fault is it? Well, it's the parties, it's the groups, it's the werewolves. They're the ones that have to answer for it. And you can do that by manipulating their harmony, making them roll for violating the oath of the moon. Hunting nature is more werewolf relevant for packs. However, it is still important. So, hunting nature is how the pack will respond to a hunt. Basically, the storyteller rolls Primal Urge, all the Primal Urge dots of the werewolves, and they may choose to begin with either human or wolf nature. If they get exceptional success, they gain a werewolf nature. It's let's jump to here. Let's here we go. Hunting nature. Basically, it plays into the theme of what's going for, what the pack is going for. If there is no hunting nature, they're basically boring, realistically speaking. Wolves just use instinct. They are fighting to survive. They harry, they separate the weak, and they work as well as a team. If you are playing with lots of neurodiverse people in your werewolf pack, I would generally suggest, particularly if they have ADHD, leaning into that by using the wolf hunting style, where they harry, they bring people back to a set location, and they do the thing. Human hunting styles are thinking and strategizing. Um, this is all about effort and coordination, um, but it will interrupt instinctive behavior. If your play group spends lots and lots of time planning, as I have a play group that we have spent 3 sessions planning the same plan, it's it's painful. I understand that. Um, give them the human hunting nature because it puts them at a disadvantage. It shows that they are thinking too hard about everything. Werewolf hunting nature is perfected harmony between each one. They are quick to react to threats, but they use their ability to think through problems. This is the ideal. Don't give Although the pack book does suggest that you can have that from the outset, if you're building a pack sheet, I would give it to them later on. So for this pack, we're going to go with human hunting nature. They are planners. You have a heavy Bone Shadow and Iron Master presence. If there are ever two tribes that just love to sit and plan and talk about theory, it's these two. Pack merits are easy to find, they're in the book. This is where Mummy can come in with hunting nature. So Mummy and Geist use a selection of attributes to emphasize the ability of the pack, of their groups. Where is it? Where are our pack tactics? Pack tactics are the ways in which Werewolf the Forsaken is trying to do a similar thing and to shorten combat. Look at that glorious artwork. Very werewolf artwork. The problem is, I find, pack tactics are just another cog in a very complex machine that is Werewolf. How I would change it is using the attribute system. Which reflects differences in how this pack will act, basically. How it can act together. Now, Mummy has Reach and Grasp. I'm just going to check Geist to see what it uses, because I believe that Geist uses different attributes, and I haven't built this all the way through. So we're thinking about it together, gang. We're all part of the team. Wolfblooded in the Grave, crew creation. That is the Virtue Vice style for Geist. So, Geist uses the crew archetype, which is super important. Doctrines, Virtue and Creed, attributes. What do they have? They use power, finesse, and resistance. We are going to use the Geist system, I think. We're going to go power, finesse, resistance. The key difference between the two is, whereas Mummy is talking about how much, how deep the cult is in the world with reach, and how ruthless it is. So basically, reach and grasp are. No. We'll go human, harmony, and spirit. So, attributes. We have a hunting nature of human, which will just go, gives us a +1 to human. They're a cult archetype, which gives us a +1 attribute, basically, to spirit, using the tribe basis for this. So, when a crew or a cult wants to do something, you have to jump halfway through the book. Firstly, here we go. Crew traits. So, human, harmony, and spirit. Virtue creed. Now, Geist has congregation, which measures its health. I think we're going to play with that and add that in. Yeah, Hanaji. Geist congregation equals to pack health. Yes. Werewolf representing the worlds they step between, I think, is a good way to define their attributes. Whereas, you're right, Geist is talking about ghost attributes, Mummy is about legal and illegal channels. We'll go. What shall we go for pack health? Human spirit harmony. Half. Yeah, maybe. There needs to be something else to it. We'll just go health. Knowing that that really needs a update. Which will be 5 plus harmony. If a pack sways too far one side or too far the other, I think actually I'd prefer to rip that out and put it into there, but I don't think that's right. We don't want to use Esotery from Sin Eater because that's specific for them. Cults. Merits doctrines. So instead of health, cult has fidelity, which is 5 plus the lowest. Yeah, actually, we're going to go harmony. We're going to pull that out. Human spirit, 5 plus lowest of human or spirit rating. Dominance is said to be the collective power of the cult. And this is what I mean by the same subsystem is being used between Mummy and Geist, and is coming from the pack and has just been refined into these two streams. What I'm going to say is I'm just going to leave the esoteric/dominance subsystem alone for now. And we'll just look at the actions. Mummy has an amazing cult action sheet. I think I put that into one of the Mummy videos. And that is used in this sort of thing. So, crew actions, you determine complexity, determine tasks, and then resolve the action. And there are lots of subsystems for that. You generate the effort, that sort of thing. What we're going to put in is capability. And that'll use the same tables. So for a pack, if you wanted to be a very interactive storyteller, and we're going to jump off soon, I will raid onto Critical Role as they'll be going live shortly. But with this system, that is kind of this, it's a bit janky as a mesh between Mummy, Geist, and the pack. But I think the intention of design has refined further and further from when the pack was published, when these other two documents were. So, if you are a particularly active storyteller, and maybe you have two packs that are playing antagonistically towards your player pack, just do pack stats. Build up the pack stat system, which you can use the base one. Absolutely, you can use this meshed version, and that can be how your antagonistic pack is interacting with the player pack. They have a human and a spirits effect, so when your antagonistic pack is rolling to harm your main pack, maybe they call upon a great number of spirits to hunt against the totem choir of your player pack. You roll spirit plus capability, and if it succeeds, it succeeds. This is a story generation system, and a system designed to make it easier for you. Thanks very much for tuning in, Haji. And is a system designed to make it easier for both you, the storyteller, and the players who may be looking at the pack and going, we've got a heap of moving parts. How can we use the pack to the best of our abilities? This makes it easier. It just means describe the situation, generate the effort, and then see what happens. And if there's tactics in there, well, you use the tactics instead. They just become the actions of the pack. And go on from there. Alrighty. I'm going to /raid Critical Role. So if you want to jump over there, do it. Thank you so much for joining me today. This will be rerun on the Onyx Path. Love your work. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a good one.